I feel like one of the ways that would really help the industry as a whole is tackling the talent shortage. Because, I mean, especially in cybersecurity, there's a huge talent shortage. I don't know about IT as a whole,
Mm,
but as we said, like or as we like established at the beginning, like they tie into each other.
yeah,
Um, and so, I mean, I kind of want to tie it back into, I mean, educating kids, because I mean, I feel like that's a great way long term,
sure.
to decrease that talent shortage. You know, what do you what do you think, or do you think there's a way to incorporate like IT and cybersecurity education into grade school, or and what do you think that those ways are?
Yeah, I mean, I think getting kids involved in those types of things from the start in school and stuff like that would be great. I think, I know that there's programs now where they're able to get certifications, you know, based off of the different courses that they're taking within their high schools, which I think is awesome. And that definitely will give them, you know, uh, set them ahead a bit compared to other folks once they go to get out and start looking at either going to college and or getting internships or actually getting jobs in the career field. um, as far as the talent shortage goes, I don't really know. I hear that a lot and I don't really know necessarily what it means. So I don't know if the talent shortage is like, if it's real, if it's tied back to specific roles that we're missing and we're looking for, or if it's just a, I don't know, like a blanket statement of cybersecurity is important and we know that we need to focus more on it in the future, and so that's kind of where there's kind of I'm trying to think of the word I want to use. um we're trying to put a greater importance on it and we know that that's going to take having more people, and so that's kind of where that is derivative from, right? um so yeah, I don't know. I think it's important to get kids involved, get them the education. I think to your point, as we get more cybersecurity um, roles and technology increases, and we end up relying on these things more and more and more, uh, getting those kids on the right path definitely will help have more people that are available for those types of roles.
Yeah, I feel like on the talent shortage, I mean, I keep hearing it too. I feel like I kind of intuitively have an idea on what it means, and that's something I've kind of been thinking a lot about is, you know, well, I guess I never even stopped to consider whether it doesn't exist. That's probably a pretty good fundamental place to start, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, so and I don't know if it's tied back to government work, right? So, or is it, we have a lot of positions for cleared folks and we don't have enough cleared folks to do those roles, and then that kind of gets spread into a statement of, um, we have a talent shortage. Um, I don't necessarily. I mean, I'm on the timeline on Twitter all the time. There's tons of people looking for cybersecurity roles and stuff like that. So is it, we have cybersecurity shortage of mid to senior level folks and not junior folks. We have a lot of people that want to get in, but really we need more mid to senior level or cyber architects to implement better security and cybersecurity programs in general. That might be it. um I just don't know. I hear it and I don't know what the specifics are when people say it.
I want to double back on your point about needing people in government, but they have to have the clearance. But
Yeah,
before that, because that is an interesting discussion. But
yeah,
before that, like, and maybe this is just because like my personal Twitter feed is a mixture of like cybersecurity stuff, but it's also a whole lot of Chiefs. So I don't get like the biggest
yeah,
reading.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And then like for like my StudioSec account, like it's still relatively new.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's still in its infancy here. So as far as like that pulse goes, I'm still kind of trying to get a reading.
Mm.
I feel like what I see a lot of is people wanting the offensive security side, but I'm not sure how large of the pie that actually makes up. If it's mostly blue team and just a
Most
subset of
most definitely.
offensive. Yeah.
And it's interesting because I actually get the opposite of that. It's more people that want, at least from my interactions and stuff like that, want to get into cybersecurity and kind of are looking at going the help desk route to get basic IT fundamentals and knowledge and experience, and then move over into blue team type of stuff. I don't have any data to back this up at all, but my qualitative assessment on it is there is much more work on the infosec, GRC, and blue team side than on the red team side. Um, just because the amount of companies that actually have on staff red team folks is, I wouldn't even want to put a percentage on it, but I'm sure it's incredibly small. And then you have companies that specialize in red team activities. How often is that really? I mean, so a company might hire folks out maybe once a year to come out and do some type of assessment. How many companies are actually doing that? I would assume also that's probably a pretty small percentage as well, especially when you're looking at the small to medium sized businesses. It's probably null. And then you're more likely dealing with larger companies that probably have some type of governance requirement, depending upon the industry that they're in, to have some type of, pen test or red team or something like that. Um, that being said, I still think that the red team side of stuff is definitely one of those things where if you develop the skills for it, you would definitely find a role. Um, because I that is definitely growing, even if it's small, right? The importance of that is definitely something that's continuing to expand. So yeah, I think that's probably
Yeah, and I think that's a good point at the end is just that it could expand. I feel like especially with this industry in particular, it's evolved pretty rapidly and it will probably continue to evolve pretty rapidly.
most definitely.
And it's that evolution pace is really governed by technology that's out, different things that, are in the environment. Um, but one of the things you mentioned, and you actually had a video about this that I thought was really good, was about the importance of that pathway starting through the help desk and then kind of getting into security that way. Do you mind just expanding a little bit about that? Because I think that's really not only an excellent, pipeline,
Yeah,
uh, but it's an important one because it sets that foundation of, here's what probably your first line of defense for most incidents will be someone in the help desk.
sure.
Like they'll encounter a case and they'll be like, hey, this is probably an incident. So being able to see that in the real world and then being on the security side, that would help with
Yep.
that.
Yeah, so I think that it's one viable path. I don't like just, telling folks that's the only way for you to do it. I think because sometimes people will get in there and then they just get stuck there. And that's definitely not what I'm recommending or anything like that. I don't want somebody to get into a job that their, end desire is to get into cybersecurity and then they just get stuck, activating accounts and stuff like that and aren't able to move on to something else. But I think it's an avenue that provides a lot of opportunity. To your point, you're going to see a lot of stuff, and if you keep I say this to a lot of folks, if you keep a kind of cybersecurity lens the whole time you're doing that, looking through the service desk things that you're doing, but looking at it from the perspective of, okay, what is potential issues here from a technology standpoint? What's potential issues here from a process standpoint? What are ways that we could improve our configurations, whether it's, from a GPO standpoint, from a whatever end user applications are. Um, I think if you kind of go into it with that mindset and also make that, if well, I was going to say make that known to other people in the organization that you're willing to help out with additional things like that. That could be beneficial. I mean, sometimes you do get into places that are very, very siloed and they don't like people trying to help out with other things because they feel like, oh, that means that person's just trying to get off the help desk real quick. Excuse me. So you kind of need to gauge that. And that kind of sucks if you're in a situation like that. So I have a lot of for sympathy for folks who end up in jobs like that, because really it should all be about gaining your skills to be able to move on to whatever the next role is that's going to progress your career. And I think if you work in an organization, a team that's like that, then everybody kind of succeeds and does better. Um, what else was I saying with that? I lost my train of thought. the If it's not necessarily through the help desk, though, starting off in other types of admin fields, I think is a good thing as well. I mean, so maybe you're going to start off as a sysadmin, and sometimes those reside at the help desk. Sometimes they don't, right? Sometimes those actual specific careers might actually fall underneath a engineering team, even though they're not engineers. But the whole point is getting hands-on operational experience in an environment is going to provide you with better perspective when it comes to protecting or defending an environment. So I think that's kind of the thing that I would recommend to folks is trying to get that experience first, just because I think that it's going to make them a better blue teamer, a better defender, a better analyst. Um, I think if you just try to jump into it, like let's say you go and you get your security plus, and then excuse me, and then you go and you try and get your what is it, the CYSA plus? I think that's like the cyber analyst um, cert from CompTIA, but you have no operational experience. I think that it's probably going to put you at quite a disadvantage when it comes to kind of some things that might be intuitive to folks who've actually had hands-on experience in an environment.
Gotcha. Yeah. Um, to kind of go back on the question about uh, the security clearances and kind of that talent shortage, just kind of before we run out of time. This is, I don't know. I feel like it can be, it's a challenging issue, but I'm kind of wanting to get your thoughts on what are ways that people who are watching that might be in high school that are kind of looking at different career opportunities in the future, maybe people that are in college that are also kind of looking in that direction,
Mm-hmm.
that they can prepare for, I mean, not only, cybersecurity and IT and whatever they'd be doing functionally, but the security clearance process, because that's totally different. It's interesting, especially if you're very much not familiar with that process.
Yeah. Keep out of trouble. I mean, like, um, I don't know. I mean,
Don't join a
that's
Russian hacker gang.
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, don't try to blow anything up. Um, I don't know. I mean, yeah, having the foresight to be aware of the things that could potentially cause issues, um, is kind of a challenge, especially for teenagers, I would guess. Because I mean, the folks who did end up with clearances at some point, I assume almost none of them planned on getting into a career field that required clearances, right? I've never ran into, a 14-year-old or 16-year-old who's like, yeah, I want a top secret clearance. Um, I don't know. That's tough. I mean, because you you obviously want to avoid certain types of things, but I mean, I don't know. That's a difficult question. I mean, I guess if somebody was thinking about, yeah, I want to have a career in IT, mentioning to them, whoever their mentors are, that, hey, this is a potential route for you to go. And if you're going to go that route, these are some things that you want to be aware of. Um, I mean, people, I guess the thing is like kids do dumb crap all the time. And I don't know, if you get in trouble for underage drinking or you smoke some weed or something like that, that could get you in trouble. Although, I mean, I think when it comes to the security clearance process and stuff like that, there's tons of people who have done all of that and gotten in trouble. And I think the main thing with that more so is being honest when going through that process, because honesty is the biggest thing. Integrity is the biggest thing when doing that. And so if you lie about that stuff and then they end up finding out you lied about it, that's where you're really going to get in trouble. Not so much if, you smoked weed when you were 17, or you smoked weed when you were 22 and you were in college, and now you're 26 and you're trying to get a job with, you know, I, I don't know, pick any government organization. You're trying to get a job with the DoD and they're going to sponsor you for clearance. I mean, I think you talk about it, you go through whatever that process is, and if everything else is lined up, I think they're pretty good at not taking incidents that aren't don't present current threats to national security into account. So
To kind of put it on a more positive note, how rewarding can that career path be? I mean, not only coming away
sure.
with the clearance, but just the things you'll learn and the people you'll be working with.
Yeah, I mean, so I think that definitely, for different folks, depending upon, especially if they served in the military and stuff like that, that's gonna put them in some interesting positions depending on the types of missions and stuff like that that they might be supporting. Um, it definitely, I mean, in this area, right, in the DC area, I don't even know what the percentage of the IT work here that's cleared, but I would assume it is probably like half or more. So that definitely presents some great opportunities from a career stability standpoint, right? And as far as a salary standpoint, cleared work, depending upon the location, can pay a decent percentage higher than non-cleared work, unless you like live in Silicon Valley or San Francisco or something like that. Then you might be able to make more money working for one of the fangs. Um, so yeah, I think that there's a lot of positives that come from that if folks are interested in going that route. Um, at the same time, I don't want to pigeonhole people into thinking that that's the only way to be successful or make a lot of money. Uh, make a lot of money probably isn't the right term. Have a lucrative career in IT or cybersecurity. Um, definitely, that might be more the case in IT, but I think cybersecurity, since it's such a thing that, as we were talking about, is going to continue to expand and continue to be needed. Um, I don't think that will be as affected by that. So
Gotcha. We're coming kind of close to time, so just want to ask some non-technical questions.
sure.
I've seen Grogu in the background.
Oh yeah, he's
So,
back there.
what are your thoughts on season 2 of Mandalorian?
Oh, it was awesome. I loved it. My only complaint with Disney Plus with that stuff is I hate waiting week to week. Like I just wish it was like Netflix and I could just binge the whole thing and be done with it. I love season 1. Season 1 was awesome. Season 2 was even better. Um, it's going to be interesting to see how the storyline will continue to evolve without him being around, whether or not it's just going to be like following Mando doing other things, or if it's going to be split and we're going to get some like, Grogu training sessions and stuff like that. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for that. I think the Book of Fett is going to be pretty cool. Looking forward to seeing what they kind of do with that. And then I think they have, I don't know, they have like a bunch of other, the Kenobi series is going to be coming out. I think they were filming that like around Christmas time. So
That
I'm
one's
not sure
with
if that.
Ewan McGregor
Yeah, yeah,
and Hayden Christensen.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. It's gonna be really cool. I don't know if it comes out in 2021 or if they're putting it in 2022, but that will be good. The Ahsoka series should be really great. I thought Rosario Dawson did awesome as Ahsoka. So that was really, really cool to see that. Um, I think they're doing what, like another, is it a show or a movie that is dealing with like a little bit before Rogue One? It might be a movie. I think what's his name? The main male character in Rogue One. Um,
Yes, I know what. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's about him, the spy, the
yeah, yeah,
rebel spy guy.
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So I
Yeah,
think I
that'll be
think
good.
they're making a movie on that, kind of like of his misadventures or whatever. Um, so yeah, I think a lot of good stuff that they're going to try and make up for the last three movies.
I was about to say they got to try to. I mean, they really have to work to reunite everybody
Yeah.
after this
I mean, they
past
could
trilogy.
just completely like retcon it and just be like, yeah, Mandalorian is like the real timeline here. Everything else was a dream or something. Who knows? But I think John Favreau does an awesome job, and what is it? Dave Filoni as well. I think is who works with him on that, to really staying true to the type of storylines that people want to see, and they do a lot of fan service that comes off as really good, right? Like it's they do a good job with their Easter eggs and stuff like that. So yeah, I love it. I look forward to whatever other stuff that they're putting out for sure.
I really like the Easter egg, and I guess it's still technically no spoilers, but when they were, well, never mind. That's to try to tease people to watch it. But
Yeah.
Operation Cinder, I like the Operation Cinder Easter egg.
Yeah.
I thought that was good. So where can people find and follow you? And then do you offer any like mentorship courses?
So you can find me on Twitter, jbizzle703, uh, and then YouTube, CyberInsight. And no, I don't offer any mentorship. You just tag me on the timeline and I'll answer stuff. I kind of feel, I don't know. So since I own my own company and I do business to business type of work, I kind of feel like all this other stuff that I do on YouTube and on Twitter is kind of my way of being able to give back. So I feel torn with having a service and charging folks to answer questions. The flip side of that is I don't have time to rewrite your resume and do all that type of stuff, which uh, I wish I did, to help folks out and stuff like that, but it's just not, don't have the ability to do that, because that's actually a lot of work, to do that type of stuff, and or getting on phone calls with folks and coaching them, through a whole bunch of stuff that would take a lot of effort, and that would probably be something that you should pay somebody for. But if they have, questions that are, they just don't know the answers, or they're trying to get other data points and stuff like that, I'm always happy to, provide my perspective or share some resources or point them towards some other folks who might be able to, get them the information that they're looking for. I do have a book that I wrote. It's a Network Plus study guide that's on Amazon. And then that book actually correlates to I won't call it a boot camp, but it is actually a Network Plus class that's offered through Standard User Institute. That's actually an accredited class. You actually get 3 college credits for it. And it's offered through a few different online universities, or you can take it self-paced as well. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, that's kind of the gist of where to find me.
Sweet, and I'll be including some links to all of those down in the
Yeah,
description as
appreciate it.
well. So, dude, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. This
Yeah,
has been
most
awesome.
definitely. Yeah, it was awesome to finally get to chat with you.
Wow, what an awesome interview. Thank you again, John Breath, for your time. I really appreciate it. And thank you, everybody watching this video, for your time as well. I really hope that this was helpful and informative for you. And if it was, hey, hit that like button, comment down below with your thoughts, and subscribe for more content I'm posting every week. Do not forget to follow him on Twitter and YouTube. Again, his YouTube channel is CYBERINSIGHT. His Twitter is John Breath. He's, a pretty remarkable guy. Again, like I said with XSS Rad, to be the best, you got to learn from the best. And he's one of the best. So definitely give him a follow and learn what you can from him. So with that, we'll see you next time.